Welcome back. It is time for our Rush Hour Roundtable. Let's introduce you to our panel today. First, we have Ashley Banfield. You can catch her on Banfield right here on NewsNation weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern. Also with us tonight, Tony Katz, Indianapolis radio host of the Morning Rumble on 93 WIBC. And finally, Elaine Swan. She is a lifestyle expert. Welcome to all of you. Good to see you all. Our first topic today is student loan forgiveness. The U.S. Department of Education approving a $6.8 billion package in student loan debt relief for more than 113,000 borrowers. Under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, nonprofit and government employees can have their federal student loan debt forgiven after 10 years or 120 payments, and it will average about $60,000 per borrower. However, only less than 1% of Americans qualify. So the big question is forgiving student loans fair? First, let's get everyone's initial thoughts on this. Ashley, let's start with you.
I don't have a big issue with the fair part. Wah, you paid yours off. Good for you. I have a big issue with 4.5 million people in this country having spent the last 20 years paying for student loans. Those are payments that didn't go into the economy for the rest of us to benefit from. And they're not saving for retirement either. So eventually we're going to pay one way or the other.
Tony, how about you?
You made a decision. You have to be responsible. And I don't think anybody else has to be responsible for you. To quote the great movie Airplane, they bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash.
Okay. Elaine, what about you?
Well, I don't quite agree with that. Folks are definitely struggling. There are individuals who have put themselves through college. They took out the loan. They're having trouble paying it back for whatever reason. Everyone has a personal reason why. And so if there is a means to step in and help these individuals, absolutely so. And again, this is going to open up more opportunities for people to spend money. So I think we're going to still see that money going into the economy, even for those whose debt is forgiven.
But, Elaine, they do have a point, right? This isn't complicated. You sign your name, you agree to pay for something, you sign a contract. If a friend borrowed money from me, I would expect that friend to pay me back and keep their end of the bargain. It's a transaction, isn't it?
Certainly, yes, absolutely. But one of the things we have to think about is some of these loans and we know this for a fact, that some of these loans were gained by colleges and educational institutions who really took advantage of the students, really didn't let them know how ballooned the payments were. I mean, we saw this in the housing industry as well, right? People took out loans for homes. There was all sorts of things in the fine print people were taking advantage of. And I think that's what we're seeing here for the folks who are still paying for the loans. The ones who paid it off are probably individuals who got in and got that decent rate or what have you. So people need help. Why not help folks who need help? It's not like they're stealing, but if there is a means to alleviate this debt so that folks can then pour more money into the economy in another manner, then why not? It's still going to get the money anyway.
And Tony, I want to go back to you because there is this idea of us being the only developed country in the world where higher education is so prohibitive, right? It's the second highest household debt after a mortgage. Isn't education supposed to be this great equalizer?
Education can be a great equalizer. The problem is that we take the idea that you have to go to college, an absolute horrific thing we've done to students over the last 20, 30 years, that somehow only having a college degree can you be a fully formed person. Right here, my screen is right here to my right. There is a course being offered by Google where you can become an e-commerce, get an e-commerce certificate. It's $39 a month. It'll take you about 6 months. We have to change completely the concept of what higher education is. And there are plenty of students who decided they had to go to Columbia or had to go to NYU and spend 30, 40, 50,000 a year, never asked themselves about ROI. I was not consulted on what they majored in, and I don't believe myself or my children should have to pay their debt. It is on them.
But you know what, Tony, I do have to say that they signed on the dotted line being told that if they went to these colleges, they would come out and be really healthy income earners. And lo and behold, they came out and it was baloney. And I think the real bandits in all of this have been those higher education institutions that just keep jacking this price of college every year, every half year. And you know what? I'd love to see a program where the government said you don't get a special accreditation anymore unless you put into the fund to pay back for these people that you swindled because you graduated them and then you left them sitting on the curb.
But I think it's
Yeah,
fascinating when you
true.
refer
And
to
then
it as,
also we
as a
have-
swindle, only because we have Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Bernie Sanders, and a lot of people talk about paying off college debt, but they never turn to the universities and say, why don't you only charge $3,000 a semester?
Right.
Wouldn't that
I think
also
they
solve the
should. They
problem?
should be pushing these. Nobody's holding these universities responsible for being these bandits. They're like robber barons of this new 21st century. And I think they should have to play a part, not just the rest of us, unwashed masses, taxpayers. I think that the colleges and universities who've been reaping the benefits over the last 2 decades should be forced to pay into the pool to help these people just get back on their feet and be productive members of the economy so that they can pay taxes and be part of the road cleaning crews and everything else that we pay for.
Elaine, I want to get to you.
I do agree that the universities should certainly be part of this, but in addition to that, these universities have incredible relationships with organizations and corporations, and getting hired, and most especially for people of color, is a challenge, and we recognize that here in this country, and that's part of it as well. So you have folks who are going to college thinking that they're going to take this advantage of the American dream. They get the degree and then get out and can't get the job, and now they have the job, but they can't pay the loan back. So yes, people are signing on the dotted line, they're accepting the money, but it's with the hopes of getting that education and getting employed after that education as well. So there's some responsibility all the way across the board here, in my opinion.
Okay, let me pose this other question to all of you. This disproportionately affects higher earners, medical students, law school students. Those are the ones who qualify for this program, and they're the ones who also can earn more when they do get out into the workforce. The people who don't finish college, the people who go to community college, they don't benefit as much. Elaine, what do you think?
Well, that's true. They don't benefit as much, but community colleges are absolutely incredible. For those that are located in their local area, they're very, very supportive. They've got a great grip on other employers in the area, so they really do their work to try to usher those students into success. And so I see that this is definitely a problem in that higher earning area. So I think it's fine for the community college students. We don't have a problem with them paying back their debt. It's these higher ones that are stuck.
Tony, what do you think?
I think the problem with that argument is when you talk about, well, they went to college, they got a degree, and there's no job for them. I thought there were like 11 million jobs out there in the country right now. But number two, what did they major in? With all due respect, if you majored in gender studies, you're going to find there are very few jobs that are looking for gender studies majors. If you've majored in computer science, it may be different. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a great computer scientist. I'm not saying you have to learn to code, which is somehow an important thing to say in today's society. But you should be taking a look at what you're majoring in, what the opportunities are. And if you're not, if you're assuming that America owes you a job, you clearly don't understand what America's all about. You're not owed. You go out there and you make it. That's a lesson that needs to be learned, and sometimes it is learned the hard way.
But Ashley, is it
sad.
harder to get it? I want to talk to Ashley quickly. Sorry to all of you. Let me ask Ashley: is it harder to get a job though, and is it harder to earn more and to pay back the debt if you're saddled with all of this debt?
Yeah, it is. And I agree with you, Tony. There are a lot of jobs out there, but a lot of them are MIC jobs. They're not the kinds of jobs that will allow you to pay back your student loan, start paying for your first car, and start making payments on a home, which is what we want people to do to start getting into the economy and being productive. Instead, they're just sort of trying to tread water for upwards of 20 years, which doesn't help the rest of us taxpayers because those folks aren't really meaningful in the economy. So listen, I couldn't believe what I heard when Michelle and Barack Obama said they were coming into the White House having just finished paying off their student loans. These are two of the smartest people in the country. And if people like that, who got those kinds of educations and were that productive, were paying off student loans in their 40s, well, that's just a bad harbinger for everybody else. And by the way, where are we going? Never mind where we've been. How about colleges now? Let's start putting the chokehold on them and limit the amount of money that they can charge these people going forward so that we don't continue to exacerbate this problem.
All right, we have to leave it there. But we're coming back after the break with much more. We have a totally different topic after the break. We'll be right back.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.